Picture this. You're king of England, sitting on a literal mountain of money, rocking the puffiest sleeves in Europe, and everyone bows when you sneeze. Sounds perfect, right? Except for one tiny problem. You can't seem to produce a male heir. Now, if you're a normal person, maybe you try therapy, adopt a dog, or, I don't know, accept that daughters exist. But if you're Henry VIII, you ghost the Pope, start your own church, and speedrun marriage like it's a reality dating show with a suspiciously high body count. This is the story of how one man's romantic chaos nearly wrecked an entire kingdom. It's got political backstabbing, religious upheaval, and more ex-wife drama than a late-night soap opera. Welcome to History's Hot Mess, where we roast the past one disaster at a time. If you crave royal tea served scalding hot, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss the next meltdown. Deep breath, grab your turkey leg, because we're diving into 6 wives, maximum chaos. Henry didn't start as a villain. Born in 1491, he was the spare heir, athletic, charming, fluent in languages, and allegedly easy on the eyes. Think Renaissance boy band frontman with a lute. When his older brother Arthur died, Henry became heir and quickly married Arthur's widow, Catherine of Aragon, to keep a powerful Spanish alliance intact. Their early years were surprisingly wholesome. Hunting, music, endless banquets. But Henry's greatest obsession was producing a son to secure the Tudor dynasty. And here's the kicker. Catherine gave birth to several children, but only one survived. Mary. Henry loved her. Sure, but he wanted a male heir like he wanted another jewel-encrusted hat. For a 16th century monarch, no son meant instability, and instability meant daggers in the dark. Catherine was smart, pious, and politically savvy. She also endured repeated pregnancies and heartbreak. By the 1520s, Henry was panicking about the lack of a boy and began hunting for a cosmic loophole. His big idea? Convince the Pope that marrying his brother's widow violated divine law, making the marriage invalid. Translation: Hey Pope, can you pretend my first 20 years of marriage didn't happen so I can remarry? The Pope said, absolutely not. Partly because Catherine's nephew was the powerful Holy Roman Emperor. Henry's patience snapped like an overcooked meat pie. If the Pope wouldn't grant an annulment, Henry would simply fire the Pope, at least in England. This tantrum triggered the English Reformation. Henry broke from Rome, declared himself head of the Church of England, and basically rewrote religious law so he could dump Catherine. Imagine blowing up a 1,000-year-old institution because you're bored with your spouse. Legendary. And reckless. Enter Anne Boleyn. Clever, charismatic, and bold enough to deny the king's advances until he offered marriage. She was the ultimate Tudor influencer fashion icon, sharp wit, and fluent in French. Henry was obsessed. He composed love letters, promised marriage, and even wore her initials on his sleeve. Their secret courtship turned the palace into a medieval reality show. When Anne finally became queen, she delivered a baby. Girl. That girl was Elizabeth, who would later become Elizabeth I, arguably England's greatest monarch. But in the moment, Henry was crushed. He needed a boy. After multiple miscarriages, Henry's passion curdled into suspicion. Rumors of affairs and witchcraft swirled, some probably invented by political enemies. Henry seized on them like a kid spotting free cake. In 1536, Anne was arrested, tried for adultery and treason, and beheaded by a skilled swordsman imported from France, because apparently local executioners weren't stylish enough. Anne's downfall showed everyone that being married to Henry was less happily ever after and more Game of Thrones. Tudor edition. Less than 2 weeks after Anne's execution, Henry married Jane Seymour. Awkward timing? Incredibly. Jane was gentle, modest, and most importantly pregnant within a year. She gave Henry the Golden Prize, a son, Edward VI. Henry finally exhaled, but joy was short-lived. Jane died of complications soon after Edward's birth. Henry wore mourning black for months and later called her his true wife, which must have been a fun read for the ghosts of wives 1 and 2. Next came a political Tinder match. Anne of Cleves. Henry chose her from a flattering portrait. When she arrived in person, Henry reportedly muttered that she looked nothing like her picture, proving that catfishing predates the internet. They married anyway, but the chemistry was icier than the Thames in January. The marriage was annulled in 6 months. Anne handled it like a champ, accepting a generous settlement palaces and the honorary title King's beloved sister. She outlived Henry and all his other wives. If this were a reality show, she'd be the only contestant to walk away richer and unscathed. Henry's next pick was Catherine Howard, a teenager with a lively personality. Henry, now in his late 40s and suffering from leg ulcers, was more a retired knight than dashing prince. But Catherine's youth flattered him. Unfortunately, Catherine had a colorful romantic past and possibly present. When allegations of infidelity surfaced, Henry reacted with predictable fury. She was executed for adultery in 1542, barely out of her teens. It's like watching a season of a dating show where each episode ends with a beheading instead of a rose ceremony. Last but not least, Catherine Parr, a twice-widowed noblewoman. She was smart, pragmatic, and probably excellent at managing chronic drama. She acted as nurse, stepmother, and occasional political advisor, helping reconcile Henry with his daughters Mary and Elizabeth. Catherine Parr survived Henry, which in this lineup is like winning Survivor. Tudor Island. She remarried after his death and lived to tell the tale, a rare happy ending in this saga. Henry's matrimonial mayhem reshaped England in lasting ways. First, he permanently severed ties with the Catholic Church, founding the Church of England and setting off centuries of religious conflict. Second, his aggressive spending and endless palatial upgrades strained the treasury, leaving successors scrambling. Third, his children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward, each ruled with their own brand of drama, from Mary's bloody counter-reformation to Elizabeth's golden age. Ironically, the daughter Henry initially dismissed, Elizabeth, became one of England's most celebrated monarchs, while his coveted male heir Edward died young. In short, Henry's obsession with a son gave England a daughter who would eclipse them all. Talk about historical karma. So there you have it. 6 wives, 2 executions, a brand new church, and a king whose love life almost toppled the nation. Henry VIII wasn't just unlucky in love. He was a walking cautionary tale about ego, power, and refusing to take maybe just chill for an answer. If you enjoyed this roller coaster, don't let the fun stop here. Hit subscribe and join us at History's Hot Mess, where we keep digging up the world's most entertaining disasters. No guillotine required. Drop a comment. Which wife do you think deserved the best ending? And remember, Behind every crown lies a hot mess waiting to be roasted. Thanks for watching History's Hot Mess, where the past gets messy. Until next time, remember, history is a hot mess, but at least it's educational.
Hey, that's the end of the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below.